The orbital bombardment stopped 3 minutes ago. That's how I knew they were coming for me. I stood in the ruins of Command Post 7, hands still shaking from the last artillery strike. The Crithian war fleet hung in the sky like broken teeth, 73 capital ships reduced to 17 in 48 hours. My boots crunched on glass from shattered observation windows. Blood streaked the floor where I dragged Commander Hayes to the medical bay. He didn't make it, the comm crackled. Captain Reeves, this is Forward Station Alpha. We're detecting a single Crithian shuttle on approach. No weapons signature. They're broadcasting surrender codes. I wiped dust from my face. Confirmed. Let them land. My second-in-command, Lieutenant Torres, grabbed my shoulder. Sir, this could be... We know it. I looked at the tactical display. Humanity's Third Fleet had broken the Crithian defensive line 6 hours ago. Their homeworld was 3 jumps away now. Undefended. Let them land. The shuttle touched down in the scorched courtyard. I walked out alone, rifle slung across my back. The hatch opened. I expected generals, diplomats, maybe executioners. She emerged instead. Queen Zalthera of the Crithian Empire stood 7 feet tall, her chitinous armor gleaming despite the ash falling around us. 4 guards flanked her, their weapons lowered. Her face, if you could call it that, bore the scars of command. One eye was cybernetic, the other burned with intelligence that made my skin crawl. She looked at me. Just looked. No words. No gestures. Behind me, Torres had positioned snipers on every rooftop. A single wrong move, and the Queen would die. We both knew it. She didn't care. "You're Reeves," she said. Her voice came through a translator, but something in the original Crithian leaked through, a resonance that vibrated in my chest. The one who shattered our fleet at Proxima. Who turned our own minefield against us at Kepler? 442. That's right. My strategist said you were reckless, unpredictable. She took a step closer. The snipers would be sweating now. They were wrong. You simply understood what we could not. I said nothing. Let her talk. You knew we would never suspect a human commander would sacrifice 12 ships to create a debris field, that we would see it as desperation, not strategy. Another step. I could smell her now. Something like ozone and copper. You knew our honor code would not allow retreat from a contested moon, so you made us defend worthless rocks while your real fleet struck our supply lines. If you're here to surrender, I'm here because the war is over. She reached beneath her armor. Every weapon on that rooftop trained on her. She moved slowly, deliberately, and withdrew a small box. Platinum, engraved with symbols I didn't recognize. In Crithian culture, when one warrior defeats another so completely that continuation would be suicide, there is a ritual. She opened the box. Inside sat a ring, black metal wound with silver thread, set with a stone that seemed to hold starlight. This is the Ring of Sovereign Defeat. It has been worn by 17 Crithian rulers throughout history. Each time it marked the end of a dynasty. She lifted it from the box. It is given to the one who has earned the right to our surrender, not through cruelty, not through genocide, but through understanding us better than we understood ourselves. I can't. Well, you already have. She stepped forward. The snipers probably had their fingers on triggers now. Your fleet could have glassed our colonies. Your leaders called for it. You refused. You disabled our ships instead of destroying them. You left evacuation corridors during the siege of Krithia Prime. You fought to win, not to exterminate. She held out the ring. By the laws of my people, I offer this freely. If you accept, the Crithian Empire will stand down. Our ships will return to our borders. The war ends. If you refuse, she paused, then we fight until one of us is dust, and we both know which that will be. I looked at the ring. At her. At the courtyard full of graves we dug yesterday. There will be conditions, I said. Name them. Your military withdraws to your core systems. No incursions for 20 years. You pay reparations to every colony you hit, and you open your borders to human observers. Agreed. Just like that. No negotiation. No pride. She'd come here to end it. I took the ring. The metal felt warm, alive somehow. The stone pulsed once against my palm. There's one more thing, she said. This ring is not merely symbolic. In accepting it, you become, in the eyes of my people, my consort of conquest. It is complicated. I stared at her. You're what? We will need to discuss terms. But first, She turned to her guards and spoke in rapid Crithian. They lowered their weapons completely, placing them on the ground. Then she turned back to me. Put it on. Let them see that humanity has won with honor. It adjusted itself, tightening perfectly. The stone flared bright. From orbit, I heard later, every Crithian ship powered down its weapons in the same instant. The Queen bowed her head, slightly. The war is over, Captain Reeves. Now the hard part begins. They wanted to throw a parade, pin medals on my chest. I refused. Instead, I spent 3 days in debriefing, explaining to Earth Command why I'd accepted a ring from an alien queen without consulting the Joint Chiefs. Admiral Patterson looked like he wanted to shoot me himself. You've potentially entangled humanity in a political marriage with a hostile species, he said, slamming his fist on the conference table. Do you understand the implications? I understand I ended a war that was going to cost another 1,000,000 lives, sir. By becoming alien royalty? By accepting a title we don't even understand? By accepting their surrender on terms we can enforce? The Crithians value honor above everything. That ring means more to them than any treaty. If I'd refused it, we'd be fighting for another decade. What exactly does consort of conquest mean? I'm still figuring that out. That was the truth. The ring never left my finger. I'd tried removing it once and nearly blacked out from pain. Crithian scholars had arrived within hours of the surrender, ancient texts in hand, trying to explain ceremonial obligations that dated back 10,000 years. Most of it made no sense. Some of it was terrifying. Apparently I now had a seat on the Crithian High Council, and certain responsibilities. Queen Zalthera had remained on Earth, in a compound we'd hastily established outside Geneva. She said she couldn't return home until the formal integration was complete. Every morning, a Crithian shuttle delivered reports to my apartment. Every evening, she requested an audience. I granted 3 so far, each more uncomfortable than the last. Tonight was the 4th. She entered my temporary quarters without guards. Security had protested, but I'd allowed it. If she wanted me dead, I'd be dead. She wore simpler armor now, ceremonial rather than combat-ready. The scars on her face seemed deeper in the soft light. "You're avoiding me," she said. "I'm trying to understand what you've made me." "You earned this." She moved to the window overlooking Lake Geneva. "My people are not sentimental, Captain. We do not offer surrender lightly. The ring marks you as someone who bested me in the only contest that matters, war. But it also binds you. To what? To my people. To ensuring this peace holds." She turned. "You think I gave you that ring to humiliate you? To trap you? I think you're a strategist. Everything you do has layers." A sound like grinding stone emerged from her throat. Crithian laughter. "Good. You're learning." "Yes, there are layers, but the foundation is simple. My people will not follow me into another war. Not after what you did to us, but they will also not accept weakness. The ring tells them I chose strength over pride, that I recognized a superior warrior and bound him to our future instead of dying uselessly. You could have just signed a treaty. Treaties are paper. This," she pointed at the ring, "this is blood and bone and honor. It's the only language the old clans understand." She stepped closer. "You're angry. You feel manipulated. Shouldn't I? Perhaps. But ask yourself, if I'd come alone, with only surrender documents, would your leaders have let you accept? Or would they have demanded total subjugation? Occupation? Would they have trusted a beaten enemy? She was right. Earth Command wanted Crithian shipyards dismantled. Wanted their military dissolved. Patterson had pushed for it in every briefing. "The ring gives you political cover," I said slowly. "You can't surrender to Earth. That would be humiliation. But you can surrender to me personally. To a warrior you respect. Now you understand. And the consort part," her cybernetic eye whirred as it focused, "is necessary for legitimacy. Without it, the ring is meaningless. You must be seen as—" She paused, searching for words. "Joined to the crown. Not human, not Crithian. Something between. Something new. I'm not marrying you. Human marriage is not what this is. We will not share a bed. We will not produce heirs. But we will share power, share responsibility. When I speak to my people, you must sometimes speak beside me. When human colonies need protection, I must sometimes provide it. We are linked now, whether you like it or not." I sank into a chair. The ring felt heavy suddenly. How long? Until one of us dies. Or until the peace no longer needs us. She moved to the door, then stopped. Tomorrow representatives from the Crithian High Council arrive. They will want to see you, to test you, to understand if you're worthy of what I've given you. And if they decide I'm not, then we'll have another war, and this time there will be no surrender. The Crithian High Council made the Queen look friendly. They arrived in 3 warships, technically a diplomatic escort, but everyone saw the threat. 6 council members in total, each representing one of the great clans. They were old. Scarred. The kind of warriors who'd survived wars humanity couldn't imagine. They met us in a neutral space station, spinning in orbit between Earth and Mars. I wore my dress uniform. The ring gleamed on my finger, drawing every eye. The lead council member, a massive Crithian named Vorthak, studied me like I was an insect. This is the human who broke our fleet? He is, Queen Zelthera said. She stood to my right, close enough that our shoulders almost touched. I present Captain Marcus Reeves, consort of conquest, bearer of the sovereign ring. He looks weak. He shattered the Crithian armada in 48 hours. Vorthak's mandibles clicked, a sign of irritation. By deception, by tricks, by understanding warfare better than our admirals. The Queen's voice could have cut steel. You question my judgment, Vorthak. I question binding our future to a species that has existed for mere centuries. What wisdom can they offer us? I'd stayed quiet long enough. The wisdom to know when we've won. You kept fighting long after victory was impossible.
That's not honor. That's stupidity.
Torres, standing behind me, probably stopped breathing. Vorthak rose to his full height, 9 feet of armored rage. You dare. I dare because I'm wearing this ring. I held up my hand. Your queen gave it to me because I understood something fundamental. Strength isn't about fighting until you're extinct. It's about knowing when to stop, when to build instead of destroy. Humans lecture us on strength? Another council member, smaller, faster looking, hissed the words. Your children. Your oldest cities are younger than our shortest wars. And yet we're standing here while your fleets are scrap metal. Wrong thing to say. I knew it instantly. Vorthak's hand moved to his blade. The guards tensed.
Queen Zelthera's voice cut through. Enough.
Vorthak, you commanded the defense at Proxima. Tell the council what happened. The massive warrior's eyes fixed on me. We had superior numbers. Superior position. A pause. He sent 12 ships directly at our minefields. Suicide runs. We thought he was desperate. We focused on them. And while we did, his real fleet circled behind our moon base and destroyed our command structure in 7 minutes. By the time we realized the 12 ships were unmanned debris, it was over. He sacrificed nothing to make you sacrifice everything, the Queen said. That is why he wears the ring, not because he's strong. Because he's smarter than us. And what happens when this human dies? When age takes him in a few decades? What then? Then the ring passes to whoever he chooses. Or back to me. Or it remains unclaimed until another warrior earns it. She looked at me. The ring is not about one person. It's about proving that honor can exist between species, that we can learn from those who defeat us. The small council member spoke again. But what proof do we have this human won't betray us, won't use his position to weaken us further? You want proof? I stepped forward, pulling a data chip from my pocket. This contains the location of every human military installation within 10 light-years of your borders, fleet positions, weapons capabilities, defense protocols. I placed it on the table. Here's your chance. Take that data, strike first, maybe win the next war. Or trust that I'm giving it to you because trust has to start somewhere. Nobody moved. The chip sat there like a live grenade. You're insane, Vorthak said quietly. I'm betting my species' survival that your queen was right about you. That honor means something. That you're not just waiting for an excuse to attack again. The queen picked up the chip, studied it, then crushed it in her hand. We don't need this, and neither does the consort. Trust is not built on secrets and leverage. It's built on standing together when everything says you shouldn't. She turned to the council. Captain Reeves has accepted the ring. He has accepted the burden of helping our people find peace. If you reject him, you reject me. You reject the legitimacy of my surrender, and we return to war. Her voice dropped. I've seen what this human can do. I won't fight him again. Choose. The silence stretched for an eternity. Vortak finally bowed his head. Just an inch, but enough. I accept the consort, but know this, human. The ring demands more than symbols. It demands action. If you fail us, if you prove unworthy, we will remove it. And you. Ha! Understood. The other council members followed Vortak's lead, each offering grudging acceptance. The small one lingered, studying me. You gave us targeting data. Fool's generosity or genuine trust? Genuine fear, I said. Fear of what happens if we don't try something different. If we just keep killing each other until there's nothing left. Perhaps there's hope for you yet, human. They left. Torres approached as the council's ships pulled away. Sir, you actually gave them outdated data. Decoys. But they don't know that I watched the ships accelerate. And if the Queen figured it out, she didn't say anything. You're playing with fire. I know, but it's the only way forward. Well played, consort. The data was false, yes? Mostly. Mostly. That grinding laugh again. You're learning to think like a Crithian. Dangerous. You crushed the chip. You could have checked it first? Shown doubt in you before the council? She shook her head. The ring binds us. What hurts you hurts me. I must trust you, or appear to, or this entire arrangement falls apart. I looked at the ring on my finger, at the alien queen beside me, at the impossible situation I'd somehow accepted. What now? I asked. Now we prove this can work. You come to Krithia Prime. Meet my people. Show them their queen didn't make a mistake. She paused. And I come to Earth. Meet yours. Show them you haven't betrayed your species. They'll never accept you. They'll have to. Just as my people must accept you. She extended her hand, a very human gesture. We're bound now, Captain. Partners in this madness. We succeed together or fail together. I took her hand. The ring flared warm. Partners, I agreed. Behind us, Taurus muttered something about insanity. She wasn't wrong, but maybe that's what peace required. Krithia Prime looked like something from a nightmare wrapped in beauty. Crystalline towers spiraled into a copper sky. The cities pulsed with bioluminescent light, organic structures grown rather than built. And everywhere, soldiers. Thousands of warriors watching as the Queen's ship descended. They're waiting to see if you're real, Salthera said. If the human who humiliated them is worthy of the ring. No pressure. Oh, there's considerable pressure. If they reject you, some will call for my abdication. Others will demand your execution. The traditionalists might attempt both. She adjusted her ceremonial armor. Try not to start a civil war. The shuttle landed in the Grand Plaza. As the ramp lowered, the sound hit me first. Millions of Crythians, clicking and hissing in their native tongue. The translator in my ear struggled to keep up. Mostly variations of human and outsider, and things I'm pretty sure were insults. I stepped out beside the Queen. Every eye locked on the ring. People of Krithia. The Queen's voice boomed across the plaza, amplified by speakers built into the towers. I present Captain Marcus Reeves, who has accepted the ring of sovereign defeat, who has earned the right to stand beside me. Ended our war with honor intact. Not quite hostile. Not quite welcoming. Uncertain. An elderly Crithian pushed through the masses, ancient, hunched, but moving with authority. Elders, I'd learned, held enormous power in Crithian society. This one looked old enough to have fought in wars against species humanity hadn't even met yet. I am Elder Thisk, she said, voice crackling. I was there when the last ring was given 300 years ago. I remember what it meant, what it cost. She looked at me with clouded eyes. Tell me, human, why did you accept? Because the alternative was more death. Because my people and yours deserve better than endless war. Pretty words. But the ring demands sacrifice. Demands blood. Are you prepared to bleed for Krithia as you bled against us? I hadn't expected that question. I don't understand. The ring binds you to our fate. If Krithia is threatened, you must defend it. If our people suffer, you must share that suffering. It is not a trophy. It is a chain. She stepped closer. So I ask again, will you bleed for us? Waiting. I looked at the Queen. She gave no guidance. This was my choice. If it keeps the peace, I said slowly, then yes, I'll bleed for Krithia. But I expect the same in return. If Earth is threatened, if human colonies need help, I expect Crithian ships to stand with us. That is not how... Someone in the crowd started. That's exactly how it works. I raised my voice, letting it carry. The ring doesn't make me your servant. It makes us partners. Equals. If you want me to care about Crithian lives, then you have to care about human lives. Otherwise, this is just another form of war. Elder Thisk's mandibles clicked rapidly. Surprise, I think. Boldly spoken. Foolishly, perhaps. But boldly. She turned to the crowd. This human understands what our own council failed to grasp. The ring is not about dominance. It's about balance. About two forces binding together to create something stronger. It flared bright enough to make me wince. The ring accepts him, she announced. The old magic recognizes his worth. Whether we like it or not, he is bound to us now. The crowd erupted. Some cheered. Others hissed in anger. Most just seemed confused. The queen leaned close. That went better than expected. Usually the ring ceremony ends with at least one assassination attempt. You're joking. I'm not. Endless parades of Crithian nobles, warriors, and scholars, all wanting to see the human who'd broken their fleet. Some were respectful, others barely concealed contempt. A few were genuinely curious, asking about human tactics and culture with the intensity of scientists studying a new species. One young warrior, barely older than a teenager in human terms, approached nervously. Is it true you sacrificed 12 ships without hesitation? They weren't sacrifices. They were unmanned. Made us believe you'd throw away lives so easily. The young Crithian's eyes shone. That's brilliant. Cruel, but brilliant. The trick is ending it before the cruelty consumes everything. Is that human philosophy? That's reality. Later, as the crowds thinned, the queen guided me to a private chamber high in the palace. The walls were transparent crystal, offering a view of the entire city. Millions of lights sparkled below. You did well today, she said. I survived. That's different from doing well. In politics, survival is success. She poured a thick, luminescent liquid into 2 cups. Crithian ceremonial wine. 2 unexpected alliances. I took the cup. The liquid tasted like metal and starlight. Why me? Really. You could have given that ring to any human. Someone with political connections. Someone Earth Command would trust more. Because you're a soldier, not a politician. You understand that sometimes the right choice looks like madness. She sipped her wine. And because you hesitated. What? When I offered the ring. You hesitated, questioned. A politician would have calculated angles immediately. But you weren't sure if you should accept. That told me you'd treat it seriously. Not as a prize. As a burden. It is a burden. Peace is heavier than war. War is simple. Destroy the enemy. Peace requires carrying their weight alongside your own, balancing impossible demands, making everyone hate you equally. She smiled, or the Crithian equivalent. You're good at making people uncomfortable. That's a useful skill. The queen's expression darkened. What is it? I asked. News from the border. One of our colony worlds, Kelsar IV, is under attack. Not by humans, by the Vraxel horde. They've taken advantage of our weakened state. How bad? Bad. Kelsar IV is poorly defended. We pulled most military assets back during the war with you. If the Vraxel commit fully, the colony falls within days. I stood. Send reinforcements. Our fleet is scattered. Rebuilding. We could muster a response in 3 weeks. Kelsar IV doesn't have 3 weeks. What about... Realize what she was thinking. No. The ring binds you. I'm not asking Earth to fight your war. They'll never agree. Command already thinks I've been compromised. If I come back asking them to defend a Crithian colony, I ran my hand through my hair. It'll destroy everything we've built. 30 million Crithians. The Vraxel don't take prisoners. She met my eyes. This is what the ring means, consort. This is the blood Elder Tisk spoke of. You can't only help when it's convenient, and I hated her for it. Give me 12 hours, I said. Let me talk to Earth Command, see if there's a way. Then I send what forces I can. It won't be enough. I I left the palace and opened a quantum comm link to Earth. Admiral Patterson appeared on screen, looking exhausted. Reeves, please tell me you're calling to say this Crithian circus is over. Sir, I need Third Fleet diverted to Kelsar IV immediately. The silence stretched for 3 full seconds. You've lost your mind, Patterson said flatly. The Vraxel horde is attacking a Crithian colony. 30 million civilians.
The Queen's forces can't respond in time. Our
problem. Sir, if we let this colony fall, we show every species in the sector that humanity only helps humans. That the peace with the Crythians is a sham. We'll lose all credibility. We'll lose credibility by defending our former enemies. Reeves, I've tolerated this ring nonsense because it ended the war. But I will not send human ships to die for Crithian colonies. The ring binds me to their fate. If I refuse to help, it's worthless. The Crithian Council will call for my removal, possibly my execution. The peace treaty falls apart. We're back to war. Is that what you want? Patterson's jaw worked. You're holding Earth hostage with your own life. I'm trying to make this peace real. And it's only real if it works both ways. I'll have to take this to the Joint Chiefs, the President. There's no time. Kelsar IV has days at most. I need authorization now. I don't have that authority. Then get someone who does. The screen flickered. Patterson disappeared, replaced by a woman I recognized. President Chen herself. She looked like she'd been pulled from sleep. Captain Reeves, Admiral Patterson briefed me. You're asking me to deploy human military forces to defend an alien colony. Yes, Madam President. Do you understand the political cost? The public will crucify me. Congress will scream about alien entanglements. And for what? To save Crithians who were trying to kill us last month? To prove that peace means something. That we're better than just tribal loyalty. She laughed, short and bitter. You sound like an idealist. I didn't think soldiers were allowed to be idealists. Beats it out of most of us. But sometimes it shows you why idealism matters. President Chen looked off screen, consulting with someone. Then back at me. Third Fleet is still recovering from the Proxima engagement. I can give you Fifth Fleet, 8 ships, mostly frigates and destroyers. They're currently on patrol near the Kelsar sector. It's not much. It's enough to buy time. Captain, if this goes wrong, if human lives are lost defending Crithians, the peace might not survive the backlash. If we don't help, the peace is already dead. You really believe in this ring business, don't you? I believe in making the hard choice while it still matters. All right. Fifth Fleet is authorized to assist Kelsar 4 defense. But Reeves, you're going with them. This is your play.
You own it.
Understood, Madam President.
The screen went dark.
I sagged against the wall. The Queen found me there 10 minutes later. Well, 8 ships. It's all I could get. 8 ships against a Vraxel war fleet. She didn't sound hopeful. Then we'd better make them count. The trip to Kelsar IV took 36 hours at maximum burn. I rode with 5th Fleet aboard the destroyer Valiant. Captain Singh commanded, a veteran who'd fought in the border wars and didn't look thrilled about defending Crithians. No offense, sir, Singh said as we approached the system, but this feels like a suicide run. Probably is, but we're doing it anyway. Because of a ring. Because 30 million people die if we don't. She nodded slowly. Fair enough. What's the plan? The Vraxial care about one thing, capturing resources. Kelsar IV has rare mineral deposits. They won't glass the planet. They want it intact. That means ground invasion, which gives us an opening. But we can make capturing the planet so costly they decide it's not worth it. I pulled up tactical displays. The Vraxel had committed 23 ships, raiders and assault carriers. Designed for overwhelming planetary defenses, not fleet combat. Fifth Fleet's 8 ships were outgunned, but more maneuverable. We hit their assault carriers before they can deploy ground forces, I said. Use the planet's gravity well against them. Make them choose between protecting their landing craft or engaging us. Sir, the Vaxel use swarm tactics. They'll try to surround us. We strike fast, break their formation, and retreat before they can coordinate. Keep them off balance. Guerrilla warfare in space, Singh said. I like it. We dropped out of FTL at the system's edge. Kelsar IV hung in the distance. A green and blue world, beautiful even through tactical screens. The Vraxel fleet swarmed in orbit like angry insects. "All ships, this is Captain Reeves," I broadcast. "Remember, we're not here to win, we're here to make them lose. Hit hard, move fast, and for God's sake, don't try to be heroes. Ready?" 7 confirmations came back. Execute. 5th Fleet dove into the system. The Vraxel responded immediately. 6 ships breaking formation to intercept. Exactly what I wanted. Target their assault carriers. Missiles on my mark. I watched the ranges close. Mark. 40 missiles streaked toward the nearest carrier. It deployed countermeasures, but we'd fired too many. 12 got through. The carrier's shields flared and collapsed. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull. 1 down. Shift targets. Keep moving. The Vraxel fleet reorganized faster than expected. Their command ship, a massive dreadnought, started coordinating their response. Within minutes, we were being herded into a kill zone. "They're learning," Singh said. "We can't keep this up." I was about to order a retreat when new contacts appeared on sensors. Krithian ships, 3 heavy cruisers, dropping out of FTL directly behind the Vraxel fleet. The Queen's voice came over comms. "Apologies for the delay, consort. I brought what I could muster. Your timing is perfect. We've got them disrupted. If you hit their command ship, already targeting. All ships, fire." The Vraxel dreadnought tried to turn, but it was too massive, too slow. Energy beams carved through its armor. Its shields failed. And then it broke apart in a silent explosion that lit up the system. Without their command ship, the Vraxel fleet collapsed into chaos. Some ships tried to retreat, others attacked blindly. We hunted them methodically, human and Krithian ships working in perfect coordination. When the last Vraxel raider jumped away, the system went quiet. "Kelsar-Vord ground forces report the invasion forces are retreating," Singh announced. "We did it." I let out a breath I'd been holding for hours. "Casualties? Minimal. 2 ships damaged, no losses." Singh looked at me with something like respect. "That was insane, sir, and brilliant." The Queen's ship pulled alongside ours. She appeared on screen. "Well fought, consort. My people owe you a debt." "We're partners." No debts." "Still, you risked human lives for Krithians. That will be remembered." Later, after the fleet secured orbit and Singh started coordinating relief efforts, I stood alone in the observation deck. The ring felt warm on my finger. Torres joined me. "You did good, sir. Really good. We got lucky. If those Krithian cruisers had been 10 minutes later, but they weren't. The Queen came through." Torres paused. "Maybe this partnership thing actually works. Maybe. Maybe some of those felon Baghdad gates were domed here, transferring supplies. Maybe personal birds. Things that would have been impossible a month ago." The ring pulsed once, like a heartbeat. "Yeah," I said quietly. "Maybe it does work." Earth welcomed me back as a hero and a traitor simultaneously. Half the planet celebrated the Kelsar IV defense as proof that humanity could lead through cooperation. The other half screamed that I'd subordinated human interests to alien concerns. President Chen gave me a medal in private and politely suggested I keep a low profile for a while. The Queen faced similar division. Conservative Krithian clans called her weak for accepting human help. Progressive factions praised the partnership. Everyone had opinions. Nobody could agree. We met again at the neutral station, this time for a formal signing of the integration accords, the document that would bind our species in mutual defense and cooperation. 60 pages of legal framework built on the foundation of one symbolic ring. "They're going to tear this apart," I said, watching diplomats argue over Clause 17 for the 3rd hour straight. "Probably," the Queen agreed. "But they'll sign it, because the alternative is admitting the ring meant nothing. And neither of our peoples can afford that." After 6 more hours of debate, every signature went on the document. Earth and Krithia Prime were officially allied. The Queen raised a glass, human champagne, at my suggestion, to impossible partnerships, to making them work anyway. The ring flared warm. A young Krithian approached hesitantly, barely more than a juvenile. She carried something wrapped in cloth. "Consort Reeves?" Her translator made her voice sound uncertain. I wanted to thank you for Kelsar IV. My family lives there, my younger siblings." If you hadn't come, she unwrapped the cloth, revealing a small sculpture, crystal-shaped into a human figure standing beside a Krithian. Crude but heartfelt. "I made this to remember." took it carefully. What's your name? I'll treasure this. The queen watched her go. That's why this matters, she said quietly. Not the treaties, not the politics, but that young Crithian who can grow up without war, who sees humans as saviors instead of enemies. D's the human kids who won't have to fight Crithians, who can build something better. I looked at the sculpture. We're going to mess this up, you know. Make mistakes.
Probably fight over stupid things.
Undoubtedly. But we'll do it as partners.
And that makes all the difference. The ring pulsed one more time, strong and steady. 6 months later, the first joint human-Crithian colony opened on a frontier world, scientists from both species working together. A year after that, the first cultural exchange program brought Crithian students to Earth. 2 years later, a Crithian engineer saved a human colony from a reactor meltdown. 3 years later, a human doctor found a cure for a Crithian plague. The ring never left my finger. Sometimes it was a burden. When old grudges flared, when extremists on both sides demanded we return to simpler times of pure tribal loyalty, but mostly it was a reminder. That peace is harder than war. That understanding takes more courage than hatred. That sometimes the bravest thing you can do is trust someone who used to be your enemy. Queen Zalthera and I stood together through it all. Not as lovers, not as master and servant, but as two warriors who'd chosen to build instead of destroy. The ring was heavy, but I'd learned to carry it, and slowly, painfully, beautifully, our two species learned to carry it together.